Hi and welcome to this video, which is a little bit different. I wanted to show you some ideas of what you can do with your die cut machine that you're maybe not aware of. And I've been inspired by this video by this beautiful double card or flip up, or I don't know what you want to call it, fold out. I don't know, by Allison, by my friend Allison, and this is her wonderful journal that I will start journaling in the next episode on Tuesday. And I just wanted to show you, she made this card or this tag by hand, and I wanted to show you some die cuts that you could maybe use in the same way that she has done to flip over your page. So I have a few examples of those, and I have 4 other tips that I have discovered using my die cut machine that maybe would be inspirational for you and your junk journals as well. So here I'm showing you a few other options of things you could like dies you could double up to make something a little more interesting. So stay tuned if you want to see how to do that. So I'm starting off using a Tim Holtz paper or a cardstock, and I'm using this tag die. You can use any tag die you have basically, which has more or less a straight edge at the top of the tag. Now you see I'm just marking where exactly I'm putting the die so that I can line up the second. So when I pull it through the second, or when I roll it through the second time from the other side. So the key here is not to roll it all the way through, but to stop a few millimeters before the top of the tag. And that might take a little bit of practice. It is quite tricky to get it exactly in the right position. I kind of peek in through the side to see where exactly those rolling things are. And there you see, when you then line it up and face it the other way, this is what you will get. If it all works out, then you have this double tag that you can just fold, and then maybe you'll have to do a tiny bit of correcting, which I'm doing here with my scissors. And there you have this double-sided tag that you can just flip over your page, and I think it's genius. So if you want to see me using these and other bits in my junk journals, please subscribe and like so that you won't miss any of my videos. And I do post 3 times a week: Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So this is the second kind of die I'm using. As you can see, it's kind of like a straight banner, maybe you could say. And again, I'm just marking exactly where I'm placing it so I can place it then from the other side exactly at the same point. I'm just sticking it down with some washi to hold it in place, and again, I'm not pulling it through all the way on the machine, but only halfway. Then I'm turning it, or not halfway, shortly before the top of the die. Then I'm turning it around, positioning it exactly so that it faces the other one I just did. Again, not rolling all the way through. And so this way now I have a really long banner, and I could leave it like this if you have something that you could use such a huge one for, or you just fold it in half like I'm doing here, and then you can just fold it over your page just like that. Now the next one I wanted to do was this little jar. So with this little jar, since the top is so narrow, I couldn't really make it flip up, but I will have it flip down, and I think that's still cute. You can just maybe glue it into your journal and then have it flip down. I think that's still a cute idea. You could journal inside. And this one was a bit more tricky because I did want to get the curving on the bottom, but I didn't want it to cut all the way through. So it actually took me 3 times to do this one. And I did not leave in the parts where it cut out completely because I don't want to bore you doing the same thing over and over again. But on this third lucky try, it actually worked. And it's the same method. You just put them back to back and then roll it through and stop a few millimeters before you reach the end of that die cut. And then when you take it off, if you did it right, and you just have to help a little bit maybe with your scissors to cut that last tiny bit that you didn't cut through. And I will link all these dies down below in case you want to find these. But you should have a look at your own dies and see if you have any where this method might work. You might surprisingly find some that would work very nicely actually. So this one is a bit different. So this one is like a Rolodex card. And since it has a tab on one side, we're gonna have to do this a bit differently, because if we would just then do the same thing as we did before, it wouldn't line up at the tab. So what we need to do is, when we take this off, we actually need to flip around the paper for it to have this tab on the same side. So here I unfortunately tore the paper a little bit with my washi, but I can just glue something over that. So here, yeah, I had to flip over the paper so that now you see the tab lines up on the same side. And you just position that with your washi tape and be sure not to go over the tab. Again, here the challenge is to go over the rounding of the tab, but not to cut all the way through. So here I again had to just cut a little bit, that last part, with my scissors. And when I fold it, I am just going to adjust those curves on the top. There you see it wasn't precise, but that is very easily fixed. And again, that's very cute to just flip over your page. And the last thing in this style I want to show you is I have these ticket booth die cuts from Tim Holtz, and I wanted to show you how to use this biggest die cut in a different way. And maybe you've seen my post on Instagram a while ago. So what I'm doing here is we're going to make tickets that are just the size of that top area of the die cut. So I cut a strip of paper which would fit pretty much exactly into that die cut. And you can make the strip as long as you wish. So we're starting off by just putting it under the top two bars. And now to continue on with the strip, I'm going to keep doing the same thing. So I line those holes up on the top of the die cut, and I make it go under the second one, and then I just roll it through the machine, always just that top part, and back out. And that way you will get smaller tickets. I think these are so fun, and as I said, you can make the strip as long as you want. And then for the last bit, you just again roll it through that top part again to get a nice end. And then you have your strip of connected tickets, which I think is just so much fun. And here I'm just showing you some stamping I've done on some of these strips that I've made previously, just to give you some more inspiration that you can use any kind of stamp, and you get so many different variations of the same ticket. You can even stamp over multiple of these tickets. This is an Alice in Wonderland stamp. So you can have so much fun with these. Now the next thing I wanted to show you is I have some intricate dies, and I don't like using them because it's such a pain to get them out of the die cut and to get all the bits out of the die cut as well. So I recently just discovered this die cut brushing tool, which is amazing, and it's very, very cheap, and I don't know how I've lived years without having this tool. So I will show you how well that actually works. So this is also why I never wanted to have like a doily die cut, because picturing me trying to poke all those little bits out was a nightmare. So here I'll show you. So this is what it looks like when it comes out of the machine. And then you just take this tool and you roll it over your die cut. And what it does, first of all, it releases the die, and it releases all the little bits in seconds. And there you see you have a very clean die and it just comes out beautifully, and the die cut itself is clean as well. And you can actually use that same tool to go over your plastic board, because sometimes those little bits get stuck as well and they're very hard to get off, but with this tool it comes off very easily. So next thing is, if you have a die cut machine, you maybe don't even know that these kind of die cuts exist as well. This one actually came with my foldable Sizzix Big Shot, which I will link below as well. I believe they still have that set. And this one is a Tim Holtz one with 2 butterflies that I recently bought at a craft flea market. Now they don't actually have this one anymore. They don't sell this exact one, but they have a very similar one that I will link below if you're interested in this. Now the cool thing is, yeah, and this one actually also has an embossing folder that comes with it. I will try to find that one as well. The cool thing with these is that this is the one that came with the machine, and I'm going to show you. These actually work with fabric and other thicker materials, like maybe thicker cardboard or even plastic would work. But what I like doing is using fabric on these. So here I just placed the piece over that butterfly die cut, and look how beautiful this is. I mean, this is so cool. And this is the Tim Holtz one. I know you can't really see the butterflies, but you will see in a moment. I will place that same fabric over it. And when you use these bigger dies or die cuts, you just sandwich them between the 2 clear plates. You have nothing else. And there you see, this is the Tim Holtz. These are the Tim Holtz butterflies. They are a little bit more detailed than the one that came with the die cut machine. So now I want to show you that same die cut, which of course you can also use just with paper as well. So I'm using some cardstock here, and you can see how beautiful these images come out. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like when I put them in the embossing folder and roll that through one more time. I just love these so much. So you just place them in there, and then you have your usual setup with the plate underneath. And look how cool these are. Oh my god. And then what you can do to make the embossing stand out even more is to take your distress oxide or distress ink. Here I have my vintage photo, and just go over that embossing, and you will see in a moment how amazing that looks. I just love it so much. And finally, my last tip is to use your dies for children's books or any other books or magazines. So this is a beautiful vintage children's book I found recently at my Goodwill, and I've already used quite a few of the pages. Most of these pages I have used to make coin envelopes with, which I'm obsessed with. So here I just wanted to show you a few examples of the fairy tale coin envelopes I've been making. And I love them so much. I'm addicted to making these for some reason. They're so fun. And I will show you in a second what you can do with your die cut. So here are just some random tag dies I have and other shapes that I have that I used on some of the images from the book, and I just adore these. I mean, look how cute they are. They are perfect for your journals. And even if you just have small bits of some kind of pattern or flowers or sky or whatever, you can really make cute tags out of them, like you see here. There's just some bits. Here's a beautiful little castle. I just love it. Yeah, and these are some of the smaller ones. Just some grass with flowers, for example. These are some other die cuts I used, just some like square ones. And I just love these. They're perfect for your journals. And finally we have some small ones where I just had little bits of of the page left that I used for something else, and you can still make adorable tiny tags. Here's some more. I just love this one. This is probably one of my favorite ones. And then you have this shape, and you just have some few, like a few trees and a butterfly, more flowers, and this little scene with this old lady spinning, and these from just some meadows. Yeah, and so I just want to show you how I would do that. So this is a page I've used part of it for something else, but there are some elements that I still like, which are these geese. So I'm just cutting that out, making it a bit smaller for my die cut machine. And now I'm gonna go through my dies to see which one would best fit the parts that are cute that I want to use. So I'm just holding my dies over them to see what would look nice. And I thought it kind of a shame to leave that middle goose out. So I thought I could find another die that might be able to include both of those geese. So I'm taking my square one, and that works out really nicely. And I'm gonna use this tag shape on the right, and then just turn them upside down and then run it through my machine, and you'll see in a second how cute these are. So you have that one, and you have the tag one, and these are perfect for embellishing anything really. Pockets, tuck spots, envelopes, just glue it down onto your page. So I hope this gave you some inspiration for your own journals, and thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Thank you. Bye.